I'm Ryan Newman, and since I started with Indiana Donor Network and Driven to Save Lives, I found out that some people think that they can't be an organ donor. The truth is, anyone can sign up to be an organ donor.
Anyone?
Anyone?
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm sure. Anyone can sign up to be an organ donor. So don't count yourself out because somebody's counting on you. Go to driventosavelives.org and sign up today.
But my heart's going to you, Ryan.
Love that shirt.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another night of iRacing action here on the National Racing Network, where tonight the stars and cars of the Sim Speed Shop Premier Series are going to take on the Monster Mile, Dover Motor Speedway, Dover, Delaware. My name is Chris Graham. Thank you so much for coming to hang out with us here this evening, and joined in the booth, as always, by the Bizzler, Mr. Patrick Byrne. And Bizzle, hopefully you are back from the beer run. But I'll tell you what, you were at the race here Monday a couple of weeks ago, made perhaps the worst pit call of all time, saying Martin Truex Jr. should not have taken 2 tires. Are we going to see any of those bad pit calls out of you here tonight?
Probably. Now, I did have plenty to drink there at the NASCAR race, and it was freezing cold. It was raining the whole time, just a drizzle. So, I was having fun at the race, but definitely not in a good state of mind to be a crew chief. So, hats off to the Martin Truex Jr. team, that 19 car. They made the right call, I guess, and ended up winning the race.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. All right, we have a couple of notes here on this one, as Andrew Mraz is going to be the first car to get a time up here. Word from race control, car 24 will get an EOL penalty to start this race. That is Braden Carroll. That is from a penalty that was not served during last week's race at Talladega Superspeedway. New quick time, top of the board, Andrew Mraz, 23.105, only 13 thousandths of a second back to Johnny Avila. Tyler Seville's first lap, not what he was hoping for, 3/4 of a second back in the 7th position. Oh, Seville's going to go sliding down to the inside off of turn number 2, but not after going quick time. 23.074, 23.07 with a 4. Troy Haight, only 14 thousandths of a second back. Let's pick up Tim Knott. He's out on the racetrack working lap number 2. That one was 0.265. Back lap, that is going to be good enough for 7th quick on the board as it stands right now, as he's going to finish up his run.
Daniel Suarez did something very similar in qualifying and unfortunately got taken out in the first stage of the race. So do we see Tyler Seville get taken out in the first stage, or do we see him turn that streak around and go out and win this thing?
I think we will find out here. Off of turn number 4 will be the 77 of Andrew Moore Jr. He's going to be way high, wide, and handsome through 1 and 2. And this is on lap number 1 of his qualification runs. Also of note, stages tonight going to be at lap number 30 and lap number 70. Lap 70 will have the caution flag at the conclusion of the stage. And I'm fairly certain, but I don't think these guys can make 70 laps on a fuel tank.
I believe they can. If they were able to go 42 at Talladega, that's wide open, or they're running less fuel, they're less horsepower there. But 70 laps is only 70 miles. Even a track like Bristol, where it's very similar to here, just half the size, they're able to go about 130, 140 laps on a tank of fuel. So, I think there's more off-throttle time here than there is at Bristol, so I think they can go a little further on fuel.
Okay, well, we'll see how that one pans out. Andrew
now,
Moore
I am
Jr.
also the worst crew chief in America here at Dover Motor Speedway. So
that is
or
correct.
Dover International Speedway.
No, Dover Motor Speedway. It's an SLI
Oh, it is
track
Dover
now.
Motor.
Yes, it is now.
Oh,
it's
okay.
Dover Motor Speedway. It has been, I think it's the 7th different name that this place has had in its history. Originally,
it's still Dover Downs.
Yeah, Dover Downs is what I know it as, but I grew up in this neck of the woods. Actually, kind of splits. I am about halfway between Pocono and Dover. So for a time, we had 4 race weekends and they were all separated by about 6 weeks from each other. So you can see a lot of Cup Series racing action, but now that Dover and Pocono are both down to 1 race weekend a year, at least I think Dover's down to 1.
I think Dover still has a playoff race.
Do they? Okay.
I got the Google machine. We'll double check that for
There you go. So we'll see what the 52 with Kevin Dick is going to be able to do here on lap number 2. Lap 1 was a even quarter of a second back, 6 cars all within 1/10. Lap number 2 up on the board. Kevin Dick will go quick time, 23:02 with a 6, 23.026 seconds. We have 6 cars within 1/10 of a second. Oh my goodness, 19 cars have taken time, and I think that's how many we have. Actually, no, we've got more than that. We have 21 cars on the entry list here. We'll pick up Richard Smith II, who's working his way off of turn number 2. He has completed all of his available laps. We'll pick up now. Well, there's Mike Larch, but he's sitting on pit lane. 4 minutes and 10 seconds left on the qualifying list.
You were initially correct. There is only one Dover race this year.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Only 1 race at the Monster Mile, which is a travesty, quite frankly.
Well, running 800 miles there would definitely be a hostage crisis. They just let you go home for a couple weeks in between.
Yeah, Mike Bagley from the Motor Racing Network he grew up right down the road from Dover, and he talked about some of the old 500 lap races there being situations where there were hostage crises that lasted less time than a 500-mile race at Dover.
I was listening to his show on the drive down there, and as I was sitting in the long line to get in, because they only had 1 gate open, he was discussing if you got wrecked the first lap, you were stuck in the infield for all 500 laps. But under caution, they would let some people run across the back straightaway to get to the outside of the track. So everyone would just crowd around there like a madhouse. And
yes.
Caution would come out, and they would run people across the backstretch so the cars came back around.
Yes, the pedestrian bridges, there's 2 bridges on the backstretch. The Monster Bridge is the one closer to turn 3. That actually does have like some VIP seating in it. But it's also a pass back and forth to the infield. But that's for spectators. The crew access is now at the turn 2 end of the racetrack. And so you can go back and forth under caution. They will let you go back and forth across that bridge. But like the bagman was saying, the bigger issue was there was not a tunnel. There is now. But for a long, long time, there was not a tunnel. So you blew up, first couple laps of the race, you wrecked a car, whatever. Your tractor trailer was stuck in the infield for 500 miles. I can remember Chocolate Myers telling stories about that on his show. Oh my goodness. A pissed off Dale Earnhardt having to sit in the infield for an eternity. Good lap there by Mike Larch for his second lap. How about Joshua Salsi? Oh my goodness, the 81 putting down a heater in the Exalta Flames colors. Lap number 2, 23.052, only 26 thousandths of a second back, and we have 8 cars within a 1/10 of a second. Oh my goodness.
I keep wanting to call Josh Salsi a rookie, because he's the new guy to this series, but with the way he's been driving, he's definitely not new to the iRacing platform. No,
Salsi, a pretty solid driver. A Class A license, 3145 on the iRating. Quite frankly, there's a few that are pretty high-powered iRating guys in this field tonight. Andrew Moore Jr. is a 46.22. Kevin Dick, a 51.03. And Johnny Avila, top of the boards, 59.01. Such a disappointment, Johnny, that you're now down below 6,000 iRating. But piles of guys in the 4,000 range. Andrew Moore Jr., Hunter Waters is there as well. As always, as we seem to get, Patrick, these Sim Racers Club fields are stout, and they're only getting stronger because we're seeing new cars come in late in this spring season. They're going to run back to back to back the next 3 weeks, take a week off, and then they're going to go for another 12-week blast. It's almost like you get some free testing time to start warming yourself up for the summer season.
Yeah, and that's why they ran that feeler in the off week to try and get more people in. Go, hey, you can come on down, see what we're about. We've got a couple more races left in this season. You can see if you like the guys or not, and come in and commit for the summer series and the fall series and years going forward. I mean, this is one of the best leagues I think we've ever covered here on iRacing. I love these guys, watching them go around. They're the cleanest stock car drivers I have ever seen. So if you're looking for a stock car league, Wednesday nights right here.
Yeah, the Sim Racers Club definitely puts on a good show. Fantastic series admins, Sam and Jordan taking care of things. Quite frankly, just spectacular at what they do as well. But now it's time for us to take a look at the starting grid for tonight's race. And on the pole with a lap time of 23.026 seconds will be the custom paints and diecast number 52 Chevrolet Camaro of Kevin Dick. Lining up alongside on the outside of row number 1, carrying the Exalta colors on his Chevrolet Camaro, 26,000 separating our top two tonight. It will be the 81 of Joshua Salsi. Row number 2 will have the 11, the Chubbies Toyota Camry of Tyler Seville, 48 thou back. While lining up on the outside, the number 28 Woodfather Chevrolet Camaro of Troy Haight. Row number 3 will have the Wolfelt number 42 Chevrolet Camaro of Quentin Clark. Lining up alongside the Sim Coaches number 45 of Andrew Mraz. You'll notice there's still not a tenth of a second there on the board. Going back to row number 4, the number 63 GM Goodwrench Service Plus entry of Johnny Avila. His Chevrolet Camaro will line up alongside the Ford Mustang number 2 Real Truck sponsored entry of Mike Larch. Row 5 will have the 77 of Andrew Moore Jr. We finally found a tenth of a second. That Weiss Markets Ford Mustang going to be alongside the Mountain Dew Zero Sugar number 4 of Lee Campbell. Row 6 will have the JW Racing number 8 Chevrolet Camaro of Justin Rideout, lining up alongside the Sim Coaches number 59 Chevrolet Camaro of Jim Thorndike. 6 full rows of cars before we hit a quarter of a second gap. Just absolutely crazy. Tim Knott and Braden Carroll going to occupy row number 7 here tonight. Row 8 will have Richard Smith II lining up alongside of Tom Wilhite. Row number 9 will be the Black Clover number 83 of John Moeller lining up alongside the unsponsored number 48 of J.D. Wardlow. Row 10, the Hunter's Fried Pickles. The Hunter's Fried Pickles number 7 of Hunter Waters. The Tabasco colors making the appearance on this one for tonight's race, lining up alongside the 86 of Tony Patton. All alone on row number 11 will be the number 14 of A.J. Digby. About 1.4 seconds back, having an issue during the qualifying session. Field going to make their way off of turn number 4. The iRacing safety truck is in. They're in the start zone. Enjoy this one, race fans. Start's going to be all yours. Oh, we've got big problems. A couple of cars up into the wall. That looks like Richard Smith II and Jim Thorndike. The 59 of Thorndike down up against the inside wall. He will be able to take the tow quickly onto pit lane. Smith looks like he's going to be able to drive that number 23 machine. Hunter Waters may have also gotten a piece of that.
Miles must have been hungry tonight. Oh, yeah.
Just contact with the 24. Braden Carroll had an EOL.
He appealed the EOL and got the start from the position he qualified in tonight.
Oh, okay. So there we go. But bringing us back to the live look here, perhaps a bit of an inauspicious start.
Yeah, well, we'll write that one off as just Miles wanting a quick bite before we get this race started.
Yeah, he wanted a snack, and a quick one. I am assuming the 24 will take claim of the caution there.
No, let's see that one more time.
All right, let's take a look here and see.
See if he got squeezed down to the bottom or...
Let's do this. We'll replay this from a little further back. Yeah, that just looks like...
Oh, he had a huge run and just kind of drove his way up into there. That door was not open. You could see the light through that door, but you could not step foot in there just yet.
Yeah. Now, we will see. We'll get the word from race control of what the penalty will be, if there is one. But we'll go back and pick up race leader Kevin Dick. Obviously, nobody going to come down. At least I can't imagine anybody would be coming down pit lane here. Hunter Waters did stop. Looks like AJ Digby stopping to top off as well. I guess if you're that far back, it really doesn't make a whole lot of difference if you're going to stop off and fill the fuel tank here.
No, it doesn't matter at all, especially when you think for the pace laps. You ran 2 pace laps, and then you had a lap and a half under wide open throttle. So you burned about half a gallon of fuel maybe, which doesn't sound like a whole lot, but that could be 3, 4, 5 laps when it comes to the race, especially since you've been idling on pit road 2 for who knows how long.
Yeah, that's... especially with a guy like AJ Digby taking the fuel here early, that just kind of makes me think we're going to see...
It's going to be close to 70 laps.
Let's see. We did not get official word of this yet, but I'm going to get the graphic up on the screen because Braden Carroll is lined up in the 19th position. Looks like a little bit of shuffling going on here in the lineup as well. As the field's going to make their way off of turn number 4, they'll get back into the restart zone. Green flag goes in the air. Kevin Dick, Johnny Avila, your championship protagonist, going to lead the field down to turn 1, but here comes Salsi. He's going to have the big look inside. Take a look, slide a little bit further back in the field here because your top 2 have checked out. In fact, top 3, Joshua Salsi holding 3rd. First battle we're going to have really side by side is going to be a little bit deeper in the pack here. That's going to be the 2 of Mike Larch having a look inside of Lee Campbell. Oh man, we've got a dog pile just up ahead of them. Tyler Seville going to be right in the middle of that. That's going to be 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, all nose to tail. The 8 of Justin Rideout almost into the back of the 28.
He's going to try and get it done around the outside. You just don't do that here.
That's impressive. Andrew Moore Jr. thought about trying to get through, but man, that was a big wiggle on corner entries. Hayes slid up the racetrack just a tick. Here's going to be Rideout and Seville side by side into 3. Rideout going to be able to hold the position. How about Troy Haight making that outside lane work? We may have an outside lane developing here that I don't think these drivers necessarily thought was going to be the optimal way around this racetrack.
No, I don't think I've ever made the outside work. Every time I've been on the outside,
is out. Yellow flag is out for the second time here tonight. Let's take a look. Braden Carroll, hold on to it, catch it. Oh!
it just gets. Oh, that was a hard hit.
Tough break for John Moeller.
Probably bent the roll bars on that one.
Absolutely nothing he could do there.
And you can see the 24 was holding his brakes. And he released him a couple times, trying to straighten the car out and hopefully not send it all the way up to the outside wall. And unfortunately, just wrong place at the wrong time for both the 24 and the 83 of John Moeller.
Yeah, even to use the old television adage of a self-cleaning racetrack, Dover is very much that. Your car's going to head to the inside. It's tough because he didn't wreck, at least initially. He was sideways trying to save the car, and ultimately just didn't happen for him. So, tough break there for Braden Carroll. That's the second incident of the night that he's going to be involved in, this time going to force him down onto pit lane for some repair work.
Yeah, this track is very unforgiving. It's incredibly rare when you even get the car a little bit loose that you get away from it with a usable race car.
Yeah, it's narrow. And one of the things that I noticed being in attendance as media at Dover a couple of weeks ago, it is steep. It is... You almost fall off into the corner, and it kind of spits you out real high.
It's deceptively small. On camera, it looks a lot bigger than it is. This track is 100% definitely a short track. Every horse racing track I have ever been to has been larger than Dover Motor Speedway.
And there is a harness racing facility in the infield at Dover as well. Getting word from race control, car number 24 parked for the night. 2 consecutive cautions he was involved in. So, unfortunately for Braden Carroll, looks like he will finish no better than the 19th position, and he'll actually fall back to 20th here when J.D. Wardlow comes across the start-finish line. We'll see if Jim Thorndike will be able to get repaired, but end of the night for Braden Carroll in the 24. Carroll entering the night 12th in the point standings. Going to be a tough break for him there. Johnny Avila holding a 9-point lead over Kevin Dick. Hunter Waters is a ways back. He's sitting on 425 markers to Avila's 508. That includes 1 drop week in those standings as well. Rest of the top 5 going to be Andrew Moore Jr. and Tyler Seville. But the field should be coming back to the choose cone this time by. We'll see who's going to elect to start where as they cross the start-finish line. Well, maybe not. Let's see. Yeah, they're going to come back to the one to go this time by. So there you see Johnny Avila up against the outside retaining wall. He will restart on the outside of row number 1. Joshua Salsi going to line up inside of row number 2 alongside the 40. Let's see. No, that is the 45 of Andrew Mraz. Row number 3 will have Justin Rideout alongside Quentin Clark. Row 4 will have Troy Haight on the inside and Lee Campbell on the outside. So already a little bit of attrition here, Bizzle, but we are also very quickly, even with the caution flags, already approaching the halfway point here in stage number 1. I wonder if some of these drivers aren't going to start thinking the long game here. Do you try some pitch strategy possibly?
No, those top two, they need every stage point they can get. So they are going to be dogfighting to the end. Maybe if you're further in the back and looking for a race win. But Kevin Dick out to a huge start here at Dover Motor Speedway.
Southsea going to be inside of Mraz off of turn number 2. That gets tight. That gets a little wiggly. Everybody going to get through cleanly off of turn 2. Top 4 going to get themselves all settled down. Next side by side is going to be Justin Rideout and Quentin Clark. Lee Campbell looking outside of Troy Haight. Couple of pairs 2x2 down the front straightaway. Fletch is checking in the comments. Come on, WWR, Hunter, move your butt. That's fantastic.
Give him a second. That thing runs on pickle juice and frying oil ain't hot yet.
Well, you would think that Tabasco might get the rear end moving. Although, I don't know, Tabasco, I don't think Tabasco's all that hot. I'm one of those weird kind of pepper freaks, though.
Yeah. Yeah, I had some Jamaican food on, I believe it was Sunday night. Absolutely fantastic. All my coworkers, they couldn't handle it. Too spicy for them. I love it.
Let's see. Let's slide up a little forward here. Pick up Quentin Clark. He's around Troy Haight on the outside. Tire wear is going to be a big deal here as we've got a battle for the race lead. Andrew Mraz comes around Kevin Dick. Picked off Johnny Avila 3 and 4 last time. Gets the race leader through 1 and 2. You almost wonder, with tire wear being a possible consideration here at Dover, especially with the fixed setup, do these drivers have to, is there some benefit to trying to manage tires? I mean, we're not seeing the huge move out of Tyler Seville that you might ordinarily expect to see out of him.
Absolutely, you're managing tires. This racetrack is concrete, and concrete is like sandpaper to these tires. It just eats them right up.
That was a Bizzle on the way into turn 1 by Justin Rideout. He's going to get a great shot off of turn 2 as well. Not quite able to dip inside of the 81 of Southsea. Seeing John Moeller making his way back out onto the racetrack. He will be in the 19th position. So, unless Jim Thorndike comes back out on the racetrack, Braden Carroll will finish the night in position number 20. Kevin Dick, Johnny Avila starting to think about a battle here as Andrew Mraz has checked out to a 1.2 second lead. Oh man, they're almost 3 wide, just back behind this battle as well. 3 wide's a no-go at Dover.
You can fit 3 wide at 30 miles an hour.
Southsea's in the wall.
Definitely not at race speed.
Joshua Southsea absolutely pancaked that number 81 into the outside safer barrier. Coming right back though, he's having the look anyway. Little further up, Justin Rideout. Oh, buddy, he may have scraped that safer barrier off of 4. Quentin Clark gonna have the look to the inside. Rideout slides right back in front of Troy Haight. Now, these things are not known for being aerodynamically impeccable like some of the Formula cars that we cover. But downforce is still a big thing here, and even somebody chopping your nose off like that mid-corner, that can affect your balance a little bit when you get to corner exit.
Yeah, these things, I almost want to say, are more sensitive to aero than some of the open wheel cars. These things rely heavily on those flares on the quarter panel as side force. It's almost like the big flaps you see on the side of the rear wings. They keep the back end of the car stable. If you get air taken off of there, it will absolutely send these cars in a loop. You saw it a lot in the Car Tomorrow era where you wouldn't even pit maneuver a guy. You wouldn't touch him. You'd just get close and the air would spin them out. So these things are very, very aero sensitive.
The Campbell with a little bit of a Darlington stripe off of turn number 2. And actually, yeah, I had my dates all screwed up. We have the season finale of season number 1 next week at Kansas Motor Speedway, and then it's the off week. We come back to start the summer season, season number 2 of 2023, with a visit to Darlington. Oh, that's going to be epic. Darlington is great, and then we're going to follow it up with a visit to North Wilkesboro. Yes, please, and more. Thank you.
Oh, man. I might have to give Sam some more money and run North Wilkesboro. I'm already signed up for all the road courses this year, but North Wilkesboro is just such a fun track to go and run.
I am really interested to see what these current generation Cup cars do in true racing conditions there.
From the handful of AI races I've run with both these cars, the late models, and the ARCA cars, all 3 of them are absolutely fantastic at North Wilkesboro. I'm really excited for the All-Star race in real life as well.
Yeah, there's been a lot of discussion about how that All-Star race is going to play out. Oh, buddy! Mraz clips the apron, big wiggle off of 4. Somehow able to save it, but it's now a 3-car battle here for the race lead. Yeah, hearing some of the stuff from the Goodyear tire tests at North Wilkesboro, these drivers sound, I don't want to say very excited. They sound like it could be an okay show. This car, for whatever reason, just does not run well on the short tracks. It's an issue. NASCAR knows about it. I hope it's not a one and done at North Wilkesboro, because you get the package dialed right. These cars just, they belong there.
Yeah, and I think that track is unique enough and kind of weird enough that these cars might actually do fantastically at. Because it's not a super fast track. 'Cause these things, they're fun to watch at the LA Coliseum as well. And North Wilkesboro is almost similar to that in the way they race. It's very full contact, very slow in the corners, fast down the straightaways. It could be a fun one to watch.
Yeah, especially with how the cars pitch around differently at each end of the racetrack. Not overselling the fact that it's uphill, downhill. Well, I guess downhill, uphill. Front straightaway is downhill. The back straightaway you run pretty significantly uphill. But you do have to set the car up differently for each end of the racetrack. And quite frankly, I think it's going to make for a pretty entertaining show, especially with it being short run stuff. Is the 42 with Quentin Clark says no mas, allows Joshua Salsi to come back through. He may have bobbled a little bit off of 4 because now Justin Rideout going to be less than a car length back off of 2.
Yeah, it looks like he's starting to overheat those rear tires, and very easy to do here at Dover, and it could catch you out.
Could catch you out, and actually we missed it. What? Kevin Dick picking up the stage win, Northland Leisure stage win. Make sure we get him up there and show the appropriate graphics there for Kevin Dick picking up the stage win. He's going to claw one off the gap to Johnny Avila. As Avila comes home in the second position. Like the 48 may have bounced it off the wall in turns 1 and 2 as Kevin Dick starts to make his way past. Let's kind of run you through the field here as we work lap number 38. Kevin Dick having an absolutely fantastic night. This is the night that he wanted to have and quite frankly needs to have.
Yeah, he's got to close that gap up and just try and catch up to Johnny Avila. He's been doing fantastic early in each of these races. He just needs to figure out how to close them out.
Yeah, we're currently sitting 1.5, almost 1.6 seconds ahead of second place Johnny Avila, who's had a very good run to this point. Avila up 5 positions from where he started the night, and quite frankly doing exactly what he needs to do to claim another Sim Racers Club championship. Just absolutely, he's going on the willpower strategy. Just point them to death. Be there at the front, at the end, week in and week out, and that's exactly what Johnny Avila is doing. One of the newer names to the series, Andrew Mraz, is going to have just Joshua Salsi right up underneath the rear end. Mraz up 3 spots. Salsi falling back 2 from where he qualified, but Salsi now going to have the look inside into 3. Oh, buddy. Almost a little bit of right side romance as the 81 slides up the racetrack. Following along in position number 5 will be Justin Rideout. He has 0.4 of a second over Quentin Clark. Another hard charger here. Salsi up 6. Not quite the hard charger. That award is going to belong right now to AJ Digby, who is up 7 positions. Quentin Clark, another of the newer guys that we've talked about, only running in the last couple of weeks that he's joined the Sim Racers Club, but putting on some spectacular shows to this point. Had a great run 1 week ago at Talladega. At least was heading towards a great run before the end of that one. Running in the 7th position is Lee Campbell. Kind of exactly what we expect out of Lee. Qualifies towards the mid-pack, puts in a solid run, has the car up inside the top 10. That's right where he's going to be tonight, currently running in the 7th position. Troy Haight is running in position number 8. He's down 4, was up doing some early battling. May have burnt the stuff up just a little bit in terms of the tire life. We'll see how the next handful of laps is going to shake out for car number 28. Mike Larch has made some contact with the outside safer barrier here early in this race. Currently down 1 position, running 6 seconds back of your race leader. Completing the top 10 right now is Andrew Moore Jr. He is down 1, and he has got a handful behind the wheel of that Weiss Market 77. Oh, what a save by Justin Rideout! Oh my goodness! He hit hard, but somehow didn't wreck it.
Is that Justin Mraz on pit road?
Yeah, well, that was Andrew. Mraz.
Man. Andrew Mraz, yeah.
Yep, Andrew Mraz bounces off the outside wall, collects Justin Rideout. Both of those cars able to make it to pit lane, but you have to wonder here now, Bizzle, are we going to start seeing some pit work from these guys? Because obviously, as we pick up race leader Kevin Dick, things are not going easy for these guys behind the wheel here at lap 47. I mean, I guess you could theoretically split the race into thirds. Run 50, stop for tires, run 50, stop for tires, run your last 50. But you want to try to stretch that and maybe keep a fresh set of sneakers in the box for late in the race.
Yeah, the end of the race definitely more important than the early sectors. For me, the early sectors always just go out there, survive, keep yourself in the lead lap, and keep yourself in the fight. So I'm usually on the side of keep the tires to the end. But same time, if you don't use them, you lose them. So if you're expecting this to go green later in the race, maybe I would take them at that lap 70 stage break.
Yeah, especially if you can go 75 laps on the tank of fuel. That makes it a one-stop race outright on fuel. You could go to the end and save yourself the set of tires. But it's not always that simple, though, especially when you don't have a crew chief or a spotter, somebody that can kind of pep talk the driver and coach them up. Obviously, they have the other drivers in their Discord servers. But this is one of those deals where it's like you're kind of on your own in terms of cheerleading yourself through the hard parts of these races.
Yeah, that's why I always like either spotting for people or having someone spot for me. It's very nice to have someone in your ear, like you said, a cheerleader, just going, hey, you've got this, these are my numbers, we're looking good, or better yet, hey, we're not looking so good right now, we need you to change something, because if I'm sitting there talking to myself, I'm an optimist, so for me, on my numbers, they always look good, but sometimes I need that outside voice going, hey, your numbers aren't very good, and we need to change something before this screws you.
Yeah, I mean, looking at just the raw data here, Kevin Dick, your race leader, will pick him up. Best lap of a 23.201. Last lap, 24.837. They're a full 1.5 seconds slower than what they were running in their fastest laps of the race. But everybody is sort of in that same slowdown gap at this point. So I guess in some respects, it's a matter of just try to hold on. If you're Kevin Dick, probably the worst thing you could see right now is a caution, because you're only, 17, 18 laps away from the stage break?
Yeah, which is, again, why it's so perplexing that he's running so far away from everyone. He's only got that on-off switch. It's either I'm wicked fast or I gotta shut it down. If I were his driver coach, I would definitely try and coach him, turn that switch into a potentiometer. Let's back her down to 70%. You're running away from these guys. Let's save the tires so we can go back up to 100 when we need to.
There you see the 59 of Jim Thorndike is back on the racetrack, so he's going to make up at least one position here on Braden Carroll, at least unless there's an issue here in the next lap or so. Pick up the battle between A.J. Digby and Hunter Waters. Oh, we've got one car hard into the outside wall. That's going to be John Moeller. Oh, and he may have just gotten hit again. Moeller takes the tow. We will stay under the green. Looked like that may have been Richard Smith II getting into John Moeller.
Like you said before, this is a self-cleaning racetrack. No need to pull the caution out if they both pull it off the track.
Yeah, well, and the other part is you don't have the real-world body work and parts and pieces and stuff that you need to clean up. Obviously, with it being a sim, if the drivers clear themselves, it's to keep the green out. The last thing you want is to run more caution laps.
Yeah, caution laps are no fun for anybody. It's almost, I don't want to say gripe I have about sim racing, but I wish we had an option to go to a more arcadey setting for cautions where you can kind of just hit an autopilot, the computer drives around laps, you can send a couple text messages and let you know when you're going back to the green and you get right back into it and start driving again. But that's just me being me. I know some guys are super into the full sim. I want to sit around there for 35 caution laps.
Andrew
Frankly, if we had an autopilot for the caution laps, the Watt-Spin incident would have never happened.
That is correct.
Andrew Mraz going towards the inside now after throwing some new shoes on that car.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, he had the contact, got some sneakers on it, and he looks like he's good to go. Man, we've got cars all over the place banging off the outside safer barriers. Some are hitting the outside, some are hitting the inside. Oh, hold on to it. The 48 about to go around. That's J.D. Wardlow. What a save, J.D.
I think he hit the wall, but he kept it pointed in the right direction.
Oh, hold on to it.
It's still pointed in the right direction.
Oh my goodness, that car is a mess of a handful right now.
Yeah, it's a good call. Come down pit road, or not, or yeah.
Yeah, he's gonna get there.
It's like there's a couple arguing in that car. I want to pit. No, no, no. We're making such good time. No need to use the bathroom. No bathroom breaks. Let's just keep going. We're almost there.
Yes. Pick up Tyler Seville and Troy Haight. They're battling for the 8th position. Oh man, Tony Patton with a big wiggle. These guys are barely hanging on to these race cars right now. And we're almost down to the window where a caution would end stage number 2. Because if the stage brake falls during a caution period, an organic caution, the stage ends and that is considered the stage brake yellow. Kevin Dick might be okay with a yellow coming out in a couple of laps here. Oh, hold on. Wow. Tony Patton giving the big wiggle a shout. Cody Brooks checking in the comments. What's going on, Cody? Hope you are having a good night. Enjoying the show as much as we are. Gotta say thank you to our members on YouTube as well. Our Hot Lap Heroes, thank you very much for your support. We do have the super chats and all that kind of stuff if you feel so inclined. We can add it to the Bizzle Beer Fund.
Cody Brooks currently driving across the country. He's on his way, I believe, down to Oklahoma today. He was just stopped off in PA, said hello to me, some other people, and driving back to Oklahoma, and then all the way out to Odessa, Texas. So going the whole way around.
Yeah, that's a drive.
Informing me that he has never changed nor checked the oil in his Nissan Altima that he is driving across the country.
Fletch saying I need cautions so I can go to the bathroom. I let the wife drive during cautions.
That's the way to do it. You know, if I needed a reason to get married, go out and find someone, get married, that might be it right there.
Yeah.
Hey babe, can you drive for good precaution while I go take a leak and grab another beer?
Oh my goodness. Tyler Seville falling into the clutches of Andrew Moore Jr. Gonna have Mike Larch there as well. Working a very nice lap number 69 for Kevin Dick. Last time by 24.881. This time 24.863. He's got to come around off of turns 3 and 4. Just one more pair of corners to get through cleanly. Wisely lets the 59 on the fresh tires come out. And Kevin Dick will pick up his 2nd stage win of the night. And there is the caution flag as your race leader gets to turn number 3. So Kevin Dick, your Northland Leisure stage winner. Get packed up behind the iRacing safety car. Oh, buddy. Richard Smith almost getting hot and heavy there into turn number 3. Most of your lead lap cars will now be coming down pit lane. Kevin Dick, Joshua Salcy, Quentin Clark, Johnny Avila, Lee Campbell, Tyler Seville, Mike Large, AJ Digby, Troy Haight, Hunter Waters, and Tim Knott all on the pit lane. Oh, we've got a wreck on the front straightaway under caution. J.D. Wardlow and the 23 of Richard Smith II making contact.
They let Watson out on that racetrack?
I guess. Down and away goes your race leader, Kevin Dick. Salcy going to be second off pit lane, followed by Avila, Clark, Campbell, Seville, Large, Digby, Waters, and Haight.
Did we have a camera on that front stretch incident?
I am looking for one. Let's take a look here. No, that was not that incident. Let's see. Who am I looking? Actually, yeah, it's J.D. Wardlow. Oh, Andrew Moore Jr. was involved in that as well. Moore with a big hit to the inside wall. That was just before the caution came out. He was able to take the tow. Now let's pick up J.D. Wardlow. Actually, let's take a look for Richard Smith II here. This all happened under the caution flag. But I want to make sure we don't miss the restart here. But I believe it was next time by, as the leaders all came down pit lane. The first near incident, as Smith kind of caught the field at a weird spot into turn 3. Now let's keep an eye on him here. Well, I guess it was, yeah, so it wasn't this lap, it was the next lap. So, we're not going to watch a whole pace lap here. Oh, yeah, there it was! Big contact!
That almost looked like a hardware issue. Could just hard left and...
Yeah.
Wow.
It was either a hardware issue or a watt spin, under caution.
That is, not normal. Especially not for Richard Smith. He's one of the cleanest drivers here, so obviously not intentional.
Yeah, I wouldn't think so anyway.
I don't think I've ever seen him even get mad, so I want to say almost 100% not intentional. That looks to me just like a hardware issue, or just let the clutch out too quickly and spun the rears.
Well, either way, Fields off at turn number 4. Green flag goes back in the air. It's a good restart for Kevin Dick. A much better restart this time for Johnny Avila. He'll be able to clear Joshua Salcy into 1. Hunter Waters side by side with Mike Larch off at 2. He'll get that pass completed. That is such a fine line here at Dover between wanting to save your stuff and knowing your best chance to make up ground is on the restarts.
Yeah, you have to go for it. This track is not like other short tracks where you can bully people around. Like, you really have to get after it, try and dig your nose under somebody, and go for it.
Now, at this point, the only cautions we will see will be organic. Our leaders have only made a single pit stop. So theoretically on fuel, they're good to go. And they have an extra set of tires in the box. At least the majority of the field is going to have an extra set of tires. It's almost a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation. Oh man, Digby giving the wall a kiss there. You have the extra set of tires, but the question becomes, when do you use them as we get the little bump and run into turn one? That was well executed.
Yeah, it's very hard to do them right here on iRacing, and when you get them, they're fantastic to watch.
So I would imagine a caution before lap 100. You won't see anybody come down pit road. They just don't have enough time on the tires yet. I guess at lap 125, it's kind of a no-brainer.
Yeah, it's in between 100 and 125 that it's, well, could this be the last caution, or could we see one in 5 laps?
And then the other question becomes, do you want to save one for a restart at lap 130 or something like that? Now, there is still 12 cars on the lead lap, and passing will be difficult, but it's not impossible, as we've seen. And if you're the only guy or one of, one or two that have fresh tires, could be time to look out.
I'm going to say it. Taking 2 tires on the final stop might be the way to go. I was against it before, but I'm going to say it now. I've seen the results in person, but this is iRacing, so maybe not.
Well, I was going to say, that is something that, for whatever reason, iRacing just does not model well in the stock cars, is the 2-tire change. It should give you a little bit of benefit for a handful of laps, and then everything kind of just falls off the cliff, but you're right back in the cliff with everybody else. Here, it just seems like it either has it's no effect or makes the car worse.
Well, it's not no effect. It either makes the car extraordinarily better, especially if you're dealing with a tight race car, or it makes the car incredibly loose and difficult to drive. There is kind of no in between.
And especially with what we've seen out of these cars late in the run, it's loose. Loose all the way around. So I would imagine the 2-tire stop doesn't do you any good here tonight.
That's just Dover, though. These cars, they can be very, very tight, and you'll still find a way to spin them out here at Dover. I believe I've spun out a Legends car here at Dover. Actually, my first NASCAR modified win on the service was here at Dover. Those cars, notoriously tight, still found a way to get loose here at Dover.
Yeah, I think it's the difference in architecture. Most racetracks the banking is built up. So you kind of just transition into the banking in the corner. Dover is one of those places that they dug the banking out, so you fall off into the corner. Instead of riding up the banking, you fall into the banking.
But that's not what
necessarily
makes
a problem, though. It's the corner exit where it spits you back out. You're going up the hill, and the car gets loose on that transition.
Yeah, it unloads the whole suspension, everything decompresses, and then immediately slams back down and compresses. So depending on how you have the car set up, it's almost like jumping the car each time. Or if you've ever taken a spirited drive down a mountain road and you go over a crest and feel the steering get real loose and then incredibly tight, that's exactly what these drivers are feeling twice a lap every single lap. And they're going a hell of a lot faster than you probably were on whatever mountain road you were on.
That was almost a mizzle on the 41 attempt, not by Troy Hay.
Actually, this is the track that the term Shire came about after our friend Wes Shire absolutely doored me coming out of one of the corners. It's very easy to do here at Dover. If you're on the inside, the banking spits you out and shoots you about half a lane high, and I was about half a lane higher than Wes and shot me right in that front stretch wall right there.
Yeah, well, and that's the hard part, is when you're the guy on the inside, you end up burning up more tire trying to just avoid the car that could be on your outside or is on your outside, because you have to keep the car pitched down, otherwise it's going to spit you out into them. Cody checking in saying Bizzle is describing the ownership of a Triumph car. Yes.
Oh, don't get me started on those. I want a TR6 so badly, but I want to throw one of the Rover Pontiac 260 cubic inch aluminum V8s in it, put a turb ski on it. They came factory turbo in the Pontiacs. Made by Rover though, over in the UK. Really weird, nifty engine. And they make a hell of a lot of power in the TR8s.
Seeing Johnny Avila going to work on Quentin Clark. Oh, buddy. That's what I saw Romanson wanted too. Joshua Sousey's got a great view of it. In fact, let's go on board with Sousey.
Yeah, that's a scary view.
Yeah, the world just falls away beneath you. That right there is what we're talking about. You have to keep the car pitched down because you have the car high on corner exit.
Yeah, and especially coming out of turn 4, you can see like how the car decompresses. Like it's a visual change with how far the car kind of jumps up in the air.
Now Andrew Mraz is up here. He is 6 laps behind the race leader. And, well, he's got a while before he would get a lucky dog.
And this is how chaotic Dover is. We only have 4 cars in frame, and that looks way more crowded than I think just about any other track.
Yeah, I mean, even Bristol is just as high banked. Dover has been described as a Bristol on steroids or an overgrown Bristol, however you want to call it. But it is incredibly narrow, like almost difficult to comprehend how narrow it looks in the real world. And
not only that, the speeds are a lot faster here at Dover than they are at Bristol. At Bristol, it's 100% a tiny little short track. It's full contact, you know what you're getting into. Here at Dover, you're going 1.5 mile speeds on a 1 mile track that's shaped like Bristol, and it's right on the cusp of, is it a short track, is it not a short track? It depends on who you ask, but sometimes it races like 1.5 miles, and sometimes it races like a short track, and it's unpredictable when you're going to get lap after lap here.
Good battle here between AJ Digby and Troy Haight. Oh, contact! Tony Patton down into the inside wall. May have had some help from Justin Rideout, but it looked like that car may have been loose on corner exit as well. Let's take a look here. Pick up the Hot Shoe Racewear instant replay. Car was a little bit loose, may have gotten some help, but he was already fighting a handful of race car. Tony Patton now as we're back to the live look and ahead for pit lane. Just past the halfway point. Troy Haight looking inside of AJ Digby once again for position number 8. Haight decides to back out of it. It's going to be Seville, Waters, Digby, Haight, and Larch all lined up nose to tail. Next car in line, Justin Rideout, is currently 17th and 25 laps down from this battle. So these drivers are going to get to a point where they are just going to be absolutely screaming for tires. Like you said, we're now into that kind of Paul Tracy danger zone. If we get a caution, do you come down now? They have 31, 32 laps on their tires. You got about 45 to go.
I'm not sure you make the green flag stop, though.
No, if you get a caution, though. I think it's still a question if you get a caution.
If you get a caution, it's starting to become a no-brainer. The closer and closer we get to the end of the race, the more and more of an easy decision that is. But yeah, there's no way you make it work stopping on the green here.
No, you're losing 2 laps to make a stop here because Dover is not an easy pit lane to get onto. You kind of have to start slowing down almost at the entrance of turn 3. And then your access road, your pit lane exit, and you just saw it right there at the inside, on the inside of the racetrack at the exit of turn 2. You're basically completely off throttle for the better part of 3/4 of a lap.
Yeah, it's always a toss-up for me between this and Darlington for being the hardest pit lanes to get onto. They're both so tough.
Yeah, Darlington for a lot of the same reasons that we have here. And Darlington, quite frankly, I think you're even carrying a little bit more speed into turn number 3.
Yeah, Darlington's fun because the racing surface is, well, fantastically wide. I think it's the widest in all of NASCAR. Now, the surface they actually use and that's actually high banked is probably the narrowest in all of NASCAR, but they're allowed to use, what, like 175, 200 feet of racetrack the whole way around?
Yeah, there's a lot to Darlington. It was actually originally constructed as, instead of a progressive banking, a split banking racetrack, with the idea being that Indy cars could run there. Now, this goes back to the 1950s, when the roadsters that they ran at Indianapolis could come run the lower banking at Darlington. That was the thought. The problem is you put racers out on a racetrack, they want to use all of it. So they were carrying just insane speeds running the upper level of the banking, and there was basically no way to really penalize somebody that used it. It's not like you had a wall there or something. It was just kind of a, hey, don't go there.
And it's too steeply banked for cones or something to discourage people from going off there. And
Yeah,
they didn't have
something to
electronic
hit.
timing and scoring and a bunch of cameras all over the track, so they couldn't even penalize it.
Now the question starts to come into play. Did Kevin Dick get out to too much of a lead? It's now down to 3 seconds, 2.9, approaching 2.8. There's still a bunch of laps to go here, and we'll flip the graphics over for you so you can see it's 37 laps to go. But did Johnny Avila and Joshua Salsi save enough tire where if we don't get a caution, they're going to have the good stuff here, or at least slightly better stuff towards the end of the race?
Yeah, and I think we've seen this out of Kevin Dick a lot, where, like I said, it's just an on-off switch, where he's wicked fast. I'd be willing to say he's the fastest driver in this field. He just struggles closing the races out. He just can't save the stuff as well as some of the other drivers.
Following along here with Johnny Avila and Joshua Sousey. Quentin Clark runs in the 4th position, 2 seconds back. It's another 3 seconds back to Lee Campbell in the 5th position. Pick up this battle, Hunter Waters, AJ Digby, and Mike Larch. That's 7, 8, 9. Tyler Seville just ahead. Only about 1.3 seconds ahead of Hunter Waters. Starting to get that feeling of, and knocking on wood saying this, but we may have seen the end of the caution flags. Unless we get one really late in the race, you kind of have that feeling where, oh, well, hold up. Race leader Kevin Dick is on pit lane. 33 to go.
I don't see any damage on that car, so is he going to try the green flag stop and take tires? Not a lap down yet, but
this is a gutsy call.
Right side's up in the air. Does the left sides go up? Yep, going to be a 4-tire stop for Kevin Dick.
Down and away.
Troy Haight also in the pits. Kevin Dick going to be 1 lap down, though.
14.5 seconds, the time of the stop. Toucan Sunoco Racing fuel for fresh Goodyear Eagles. And the chase is on. Kevin Dick currently being scored in the 11th position, 1 lap down, notably behind Richard Smith II. So if a caution comes out, Smith would get the lucky dog and not Kevin Dick. Now, he would take the wave around, but that assumes that everybody comes down pit lane.
Yeah, Kevin Dick has one job at this very moment. Get in front of Richard Smith, chase him down, and blow the doors off that car. Tim not going to, I want to say wisely, let Kevin Dick by. He's got a job to do, and he's not going to let anybody get in the way.
Just getting word from race control, the extracurriculars that we had under the caution flag does not trigger a penalty here in the Sim Racers Club. However, it is protestable after the race. So the drivers can lodge a protest, but that's not the same as saying we're going to call a caution actively. Or I should say call the penalty, actively call the penalty for the incident that happens under caution. Kevin Dick has passed Tim Knott, who is on pit lane. Richard Smith II still sitting 1 lap down, and Kevin Dick is about 10.6 seconds back of Smith. Down to 8 cars remaining on the lead lap.
Yeah, I don't know if pitting on the green was the right call, but I am the worst crew chief in America.
Well,
Larry Mack gets the title of America's crew chief. I guess I get the title of Antarctica's crew chief, maybe? No, it's all genius scientists over there. They don't want me in charge.
That is correct. But there are some things that come into play, though, because if this race runs green the rest of the way, Kevin Dick is currently running 23.3 laps. Johnny Avila, 24.8. It's a second and a half quicker. I think there is the possibility that Kevin Dick could, and that's the big could, make up the lap time here.
Yeah, but how long is that advantage going to last? You got to remember, those tires are going to wear out and they're going to level off to where Johnny Avila's at. It's just a matter of when that happens.
Especially the other big consideration is the championship battle. This could be a championship winning move for Kevin Dick. Or it could be the one that seals the deal and basically crowns Johnny Avila a champion heading into next week at Kansas. The other thing that we really can't discount is the fact that the Will Worsler Racing Team Discord has 5-6 cars in it, as opposed to the Pie-Eyed Racing Discord that has exactly 2. That's a big difference in terms of being able to bounce ideas and thoughts off of each other. Tyler Seville, great at saving tires. AJ Digby is the fuel calculation master.
Yeah, Johnny Avila is not a strategy guy. He is a pure driver. Every time I've sat in the car with them when I was racing with those guys, it's always been usually just Digby, sometimes Seville, calling the shots of what the guys are going to do. And just the pure drivers on the team going, okay, we trust your numbers, we trust what you're saying, going and pitting. And usually one of those guys is either in victory lane or up there in the top 3. So yeah, having all of those people in there is definitely a huge help.
Well, Kevin Dick has gotten around Richard Smith to second, so he is up to the 9th position, but still 1 lap down. As Tyler Seville and Lee Campbell going to be battling for the 4th position. And you're running side by side with somebody and you see the lap car ahead of you have a moment off at turn 4. That's pucker factor Zulu at a place like Dover. Oh, and it's going to be a big hold up for Campbell as well. He got hung up behind the 59 of Jim Thorndike. That cost him about 15 car lengths.
Getting around Richard Smith, Kevin Dick is now your first car 1 lap down. AJ Digby going to be coming in the pits now, so if Digby's coming in the pits, I'm willing to bet the rest of the WWR cars are going to be coming down sometime soon.
If I'm Johnny Avila, I don't know that the juice is worth the squeeze at this point, as Kevin Dick has just unlapped himself. He's got 17 laps to get around this racetrack and pass Johnny Avila.
Yeah, that's a very good point. By the time Kevin Dick catches up to Johnny Avila, their tires might be just about equal. But Dick might have a slight advantage, but it might be so slight that Avila's able to just hold him off.
Yeah, Johnny Avila's kind of in not total prevent defense, because frankly, prevent defenses lose games. But it's definitely a consideration here of, I just have to get me 15 more laps here. I don't need to win by a lot. I need to win by enough.
By the math, Kevin Dick should be ahead of Johnny Avila by the end of the race. But you have to remember, the lap only works when you're the math only works when you're the only car on track running by yourself. He's got to get ahead of 7 more cars before he's the leader. And none of them are going to want to just let him by nice and easy. He's going to have to fight for each and every spot. And 3 of those cars I'm seeing are teammates to Johnny Avila, so they're especially not going to let him by.
Yeah, this one's going to be fun to watch develop here over the last 13 laps to go that we're going to see this time by for race leader Johnny Avila. Kevin Dick claims stage 1 and stage 2. He got some work to do, though, if he wants to claim the 3rd and the big pay-in stage. I'll tell you what, though, in the last lap and a half, he's cut about 2.5 seconds out of Johnny Avila's lead. It's now down to 17 and change seconds. Everybody ahead of Kevin Dick has 66 laps on their tires. Kevin Dick has 20. I think we're getting to that window, though, Patrick, where you talked about the tires are going to start to fall off here in a pretty big way. They don't necessarily cliff, but they definitely fall off a bunch.
Yeah, I can see Kevin Dick isn't making up the huge gains he was earlier. So he gets a little bit loose there, actually loses some time on that lap.
The gap is down to 15.6 seconds as we have 11 laps to go for Johnny Avila. The other part that you can't discount, Hunter Waters, you talked about it a little bit, but Lee Campbell and Hunter Waters are only separated by about 0.2. If they start battling with each other, now you're talking about having to pass a couple of cars that could be fighting for position and side by side. It's not as simple as I'm faster and I'm coming through.
Yeah, Kevin Dick is only picking up about 0.9 a lap, not even a full second a lap, which by my math, not going to make it.
No, it won't be enough.
Yeah, he's going to need a caution and need to get lucky with the twos and hope he's got enough juice in it to go and pass everyone, or hope everyone pits.
Well, yeah,
But
that's the whole thing, is if he gets the caution, all bets are off. This is a great battle for second between Quentin Clark and Joshua Salsi. Tyler Seville not too far off of this one either, only about 3.5 seconds back. This fight taking place about 2.5 back of race leader Johnny Avila.
Yeah, a late race caution definitely has the potential to shake this one up. Only 7 to go now.
Oh, it grenades it. It absolutely grenades the strategy of Johnny Avila and, quite frankly, everybody else that has not stopped. Because their choice is, at this point, I guess, you can't stop. You're going to come out 8th. Unless you look at it and go, well, Kevin Dick's got 26-lap-old tires. I just don't think you can pass enough cars under a green-white checker. You would almost need the caution to come out now.
Yeah, for Johnny Avila to win this race and the caution comes out, nobody needs to pit, or nobody is going to pit. If a couple cars pit, or if a bunch of cars pit, that puts him in a really, really bad spot, especially with how old those tires are. But if everyone pits to the flip side, then they're all going to have much better stuff than Kevin Dick, and if he's the only car out there in front, well, they're going to freight train Kevin Dick.
Well, that's true. If everybody pits, which I would imagine he can count on the Will Worsler cars to come down, you would really only be talking about you're maybe restarting 4th or 5th in line at the choose. That's doable in a couple of laps. With 4 to go, it's going to be 3 at the line. The gap sitting at 11.6 seconds between race leader Johnny Avila and 8th place Kevin Dick. Johnny Avila's behind the wheel of that GM Goodwrench Plus machine going, one more. I need one more clean lap. Once the white flag flies, the race will be over for all intents and purposes. It would take some kind of crazy track blockage for a yellow to be called not automatically. And there it is. White flag is in the air. 1 lap to go here at Dover. And Johnny Avila holding a 2.7 second lead over Quentin Clark. Through 3 and 4 for the final time. Under the checkered flag will come the 63, and Johnny Avila gets the win at Dover. Quentin Clark going to hold on for second. Tyler Seville getting past Joshua Salsi on the final lap. He will come home third. Salsi fourth, and Hunter Waters will round out the top 5. Kevin Dick has got to be wondering what could have been at this point. So we're going to see the Will Worsler Racing crew get ready to go absolutely nuts here on the front straightaway, because they know what this means in terms of the championship as well. Let's take a look at your race results. Johnny Avila getting the win over Quentin Clark, Tyler Seville, Joshua Salsi, and Hunter Waters, the top 5. 6 through 10 going to be Lee Campbell, Kevin Dick, Mike Larch, Troy Haight, and Tim Knott. 11 through 20, AJ Digby, Tony Patton, Andrew Mraz, Tom Wilhite, Richard Smith II back to 15th. 16 through 20, Justin Rideout, JD Wardlow, Jim Thorndike, Andrew Moore Jr., and John Moeller. Rounding out the field, Braden Carroll having just a terrible, no good, very bad night. 2 incidents in the first 9 laps. There's the Will Worsler guys burning them down here and grenading motors on the front straightaway.
Yeah, looks like the Digby car is going to need a new engine.
I think all of them are going to need a new engine by the time this is done. Oh, there goes Hunter Waters.
I don't see any tire smoke out of the 63, so I think that one's grenaded too. Somehow the 11 is still going, so we are going to need to send that car to tech. Just make sure you're not running any funky cooling system in that thing.
Yeah. Let's take a look here, and we'll get our victory lane interviews ready to roll. There's a good look at our race winner tonight, Mr. Johnny Avila. We'll bring him up for, well, another Wednesday night chat with Mr. Avila, our race winner tonight here at Dover. And I'll tell you what, Johnny, the car was good, but you had to get a big fat smile on your face when you saw Kevin come down pit lane there with about 35, 38 to go.
Yeah, I wasn't quite sure why he pitted. He had such a large lead unless he didn't take enough fuel. But, yeah, because I was getting ready to start pushing because I was just trying to bide my time, save my tires, and then I see him pit. And it's like, well, I guess I can just go back and cruise control.
Yeah, you got to do that. And quite frankly, I think you're going to get to do the same thing next week out here at Kansas Speedway, because this was a huge swing in the points tonight. Kevin coming home 7th. Now, he did pick up a couple of stage wins, but you finished 2nd in, I believe, both. So he only gained a couple there, and it is a big swing here, 7-8 points. You still got to race hard next week, but you can be a little bit smarter about how you do that as well.
Yeah, I can just pressure to like win the race or whatever isn't necessarily there, but I still have to perform because if Kevin had the tires or the fuel to stay out and finish this race, he would have taken a big chunk out of my lead, because I think I only had like a 9-point lead. He's been killing it with the stage points this year, and he was doing it again tonight. So yeah, I guess it was just a little lucky today.
Well, sometimes lucky is better than good, and tonight you were both. Congratulations, a big win for that 63 machine. And before we let you go, do all the big sponsor plugs and thank yous.
I'd like to give a shout out to my right rear for staying on that second run, because I'm telling you, I was praying for the stage break to come out. I pitted. My right front was 66. My right rear was 14. I had nothing. I was like basically releasing the throttle on the exit. And the 42, I had a good race with him. He was able to beat me for the second stage. But yeah, also once again want to thank all my teammates. So it's always fun to race with those guys, and all you guys here. broadcasting every night. And also, thank you guys for letting me broadcast that Thursday race last week. Hopefully, I did a good job with you gone, Chris.
Yeah, that was fun.
Oh, yeah.
I was listening to the B team coverage, and I'm going to say you guys, I think you might be the A- team at this point. You guys did a fantastic job of that. Thank you for stepping in to help out the boys while I was off graduating kids from college. And congratulations on the win. We'll see you next week at Kansas, brother.
All right, buddy. Take it easy, guys.
There you go. There's Johnny Avila, your race winner. We'll bring in our runner-up finisher tonight here. I don't know that I've gotten to talk to this guy yet, but Quentin Clark, congratulations. A fantastic drive tonight. The car looked good from practice through qualifying and ultimately able to put a big finish up there on the board.
Hey, man, thank you so much. I was looking forward to a fun ending and just felt like I made a few small mistakes trying to get back up to Johnny, but that was a really fun race all around. Just had a blast.
This is one of those places that is not easy. Johnny was talking about the first stint. His right rear was down to 14%.
14%? I saw you told us that too. I was trying to save. By the first run, I was down to 57%, so 14% surprised me, but definitely understood why he was whirling around there on the first stage at the very end.
Yeah, and is it that much of a, were you seeing that much of an issue with your tires as well? I mean, obviously it's a fixed setup, but some people just, the setup suits their driving style better than others.
Yeah, I like this setup here at Dover. I feel like for some reason between 80 and 90% wear, 85 and 90%, I'm just slow. It feels really loose to me. And then it kind of tightens back up for me and I can come back. So I like these 70 lap runs. If we were, if we had a stage that was 40 or 50 laps, I'd probably fall off too much and not have a chance to come back. But had a lot of that was just fun. I just love this track.
Well, congratulations on the podium tonight. Great finish for you. And before we let you go, make sure you get any of your sponsor plugs and thank yous taken care of.
Thanks, buddy. I really appreciate it. I appreciate the warm welcome to this league. We're looking forward to being back for next season. And want to shout out Wolfelt for being on the car, listening to them on Spotify. I want to give a big shout out to my wife, who's my biggest fan, and my family. My dad is at home watching too. And I really appreciate the support from everybody who's gotten me this far.
All right, buddy. Well, thank you much. We appreciate you coming to hang out with us here for a couple of minutes, and quite frankly, looking forward to more of these chats. We appreciate you coming to hang out here, Quentin, and we'll bring in Tyler Seville now, our third place finisher. And what were you seeing? You're the tire guy. What were you thinking when you saw Kevin hit pit lane? And you guys are obviously talking it through in the Discord, like, what's going on here? And then you had the great battle with Joshua there over the last couple of laps as well.
Yeah, when I saw Kevin pit, I was doubtful that he was going to be able to get back up there just because of the number of laps that we had left. And then just passing anybody, whether it was for position or with lap traffic, it was tough out there the further we got on these tires.
Yeah, it seemed like, I mean, we heard the numbers that Johnny was spitting out. Quentin was saying his tires weren't as bad at the end of the first stint, but what were you seeing behind the wheel there? Because it seemed like things were getting really sketchy there the deeper we got into the runs.
Yeah, in practice on Monday, I did a couple 30-lap runs, and I noticed around lap 15 to 20, there would be a switch where it would get a lot looser up off the corner. But I'll tell you, my tires weren't anything close to what Johnny's were there on that first run when he was talking about shifting. I was just like, you ain't going to make it. But Johnny's Johnny, so he made it, of course.
Yeah, for better or for worse, we get to talk to Johnny, it seems like week in and week out here. Glad we get to talk to you here tonight as well. Thank you very much for coming to hang out with us. And before we let you go, do all the big sponsor plugs and thank yous.
Yeah, shout out to my sponsor, Chubbies, and then congrats to Johnny on the win. And good run for Hunter for his first race back from his honeymoon. AJ would have been right up there with us if he didn't have that issue there at the end. So good run overall for the team.
All right, buddy. Well, thank you much. We appreciate you coming to hang out with us here for a couple of minutes. And I'll tell you what, Bizzle, we got a show. I was fully expecting Kevin Dick to just kind of stink this show up late in the race, and then it didn't happen. He elects to come down pit lane, and it was Johnny Avila that was stinking up the show late in the race. But something that we don't normally see a lot of in this league, the strategy game played out incredible. Gave us a really neat storyline to talk about for the last 40 laps or so of this race.
Yeah, a lot of times strategy races are very boring to sit around and watch, but as always, Sim Racers Club gave us a fantastic race. They can make a strategy race like this entertaining to watch. So, hats off to those guys, because frankly, that was a ton of fun. We had the hard racing, we had strategy calls, everything you could ever want in a race. It was a good time.
Yes, it was. And with that, it's time for us to get the heck on out of here. Coming up tomorrow night, it will be the U.S. Open Wheel Championship. Same bat time, same bat channel. 9 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Follow it up on Friday afternoon with the return of the Camel GT Happy Hour. That one will kick off your race weekend at 5 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time on Friday afternoon. With that, time for us to get the heck on out of here. It was a great show. Bizzle, thank you very much for coming to hang out with us. And thank you all for tuning in as well. For Bizzle and everybody here at the National Racing Network that makes these shows happen, my name is Chris Graham. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. We will talk to you all soon. Have a great night, everybody.